Hello, and welcome to a special Q&A recording of SHIVA BABY, one of the 50 official selection titles at this year's 45th Annual Toronto International Film Festival. As part of Share Her Journey, Tiff's commitment to supporting women behind and in front of the camera, we're thrilled to spotlight the incredible films by women at this year's festival, including this one, written and directed by Emma Seligman. My name is Ravi Srinivasan. I'm one of the feature film programmers here at the festival, and I'm thrilled to be here with members of the cast, Draper, Dianna Agron, Rachel Sennott, and of course, writer-director Emma Seligman, to speak about their tremendous debut feature. I want to thank our audience for joining us, and as an organization still impacted by COVID, we need the support of our audience so that we can continue to present films to future generations and preserve these diverse and important voices. But without further ado, I would like to welcome the cast, Draper, Dianna Agron, Rachel Sennott, and Emma Seligman to the Q&A. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Of course. Thank you for providing us with the film. And look, I want to start with, I don't want to disregard, the moment that we're in and this sort of unprecedented nature of having several meaningful and transformative films like this one. Being presented in a virtual setting, which is, all very new to me, to you, to our audiences during a global pandemic. I'm wondering if, Emma, first, can you talk a little bit about your experience, maybe on a personal level, but also just, completing this film and presenting your first feature during this time?
It's strange, and I didn't expect it to be this way. But I feel really grateful that we've had the success with the film that we have in the time that we're in. I feel really lucky, and that despite the world burning, that making my first movie, it feels like it came out alive, and that people are watching it virtually. So I'm just happy that we've had these opportunities, and I'm happy that I at least get to be physically here in Toronto. I'm not sure how physical the festival is going to be, but I grew up in Toronto, and it's an important festival for me. So I feel really lucky and excited and grateful that this is my first film experience, regardless of COVID. I'm just trying to take the wins where we can for this film.
Yeah, of course. And Rachel, Dianna, do you want to talk a little bit about how you're sort of coping through what's happening, and also just speaking towards work and the future of sort of film during this time, and how you're keeping up with it? Rachel, we can start with you.
Okay, I never can tell where people are in.
I know.
For everyone. I feel like obviously I wish that we could all be together, and it's sad, but I think it's very cool also to see how the industry adapts, and there's like still ways like drive-in and people watch so much stuff on their computers anyways, and so it feels really cool to see people still like being so passionate about film during this time. It's like exciting and feels good, I guess, that people are still want to see movies and everything.
Yeah, absolutely. Polly, would you like to go ahead?
I mean, I think it's sad because I love movies as a group experience. I mean, it's such a beautiful thing when everybody's in a theater loving and laughing, especially a movie like this that's so funny and gentle and full of love. It's kind of sad not to be able to share that kind of movie with other people. But I agree with Rachel that it's sort of a testament to human nature that we adapt these weird, crazy, horrible times.
Yeah. And Dianna?
Absolutely. And just to add to that, I mean, I love my job. I think we wouldn't be doing what we do if we didn't love it. And I think that film and music and all of the arts have been carrying me through this time in a way that is meaningful and impactful. And, that's one of the things I turn to as far as sharing with people when you're looking for escapism and, you know, recommendations of what to be watching, what to be consuming. And this film is, you know, special on any year and any day. But I think that consuming our film during a time like this is very uplifting for people. I mean, I know my cousin saw it the other day at via another festival experience and just was raving about it. So it's nice to be able to have pieces like this in the world, going out in the world, particularly now.
Yeah, absolutely. Emma, so Shiva Baby was based on your 2018 short film of the same name. So I'm wondering if you can talk a little bit about the inspiration for the script, the adaptation process, and how much, if any, was based on your own experience coming of age.
Well, I made the short film that this is based on in my last year of college. So a lot of it was creatively inspired by what I was feeling, you know, approaching graduation and feeling incredibly anxious about my future and my sexuality and my self-worth, and also the pressures of my family and my community. You know, I grew up in a very, you know, close-knit Jewish community, and I grew up going to a lot of shivas, so that part's true. And there were a lot of sugar babies at NYU, and I thought it'd be a wonderful opportunity to put someone in a situation that's extremely uncomfortable and anxiety-inducing and fun. So I made the short, and then I adapted it into the feature, which was very hard to find the right tone because it all takes place in one day in one location. So it was a sort of it was a dance of trying to fill it up with enough entertainment and fun, but also not having it be slapstick and too hokey, and keeping it hopefully grounded and realistic. But it was a wonderful adaptation process, and I'm so lucky that I got the chance to do it and have Rachel as an active collaborator and friend and person I could go to throughout the process, because Rachel was in the short. So, yeah,
that's great. I'm really glad you used the word pressure, because that's certainly a feeling that I felt throughout the entire film. There's a lot of pressure cooked moments, you know, and that was also brilliantly emphasized by the score in the film that we hear throughout, and just this pressure, judgment, criticism, you know, of future. And I love the aspect of you know, the man that's having an affair with on Diana's character, even criticizing Danielle's life and future. And so can you talk a little bit about that feeling of pressure that's you know, cooked throughout the film?
Sure. So, you know, the pressure that came from was, I think, just a very relatable, like, approaching graduation pressure. But for me, it felt like all the conflicting pressures of my life that I was feeling to be like a good Jewish girl, and also like an independent, sexy young woman, and like a career holder, but also like, you know, traditional and stable. And it felt like it was all these conflicting things, and I felt like I was having a panic attack. So I just really wanted to put that in the film. And I felt like every collaborator that I had helped so greatly in baking that pressure in. Like, our incredible cinematographer, Maria Rushi, her and I worked really closely on finding films that were anxiety induced and more like psychological thrillers and horror films, in order to create a style that's similar in terms of being the movie. And our editor part was incredible, and sort of cutting it together in that way. And each of our cast members, like Rachel and I, went through so much in terms of each scene to kind of craft her downfall of pressure. Where is her power in this moment versus that moment? And each actor, like Diana and Polly, like helped so much in understanding that, like, this is just about this young woman losing her mind in a day, and that we need to help, you know, sort of make that happen. And then our incredible composer, who you mentioned, Ariel Marks, was so down to do like a horror score for this comedy. And so I take my hat off to her, because she was like, you want a horror score? And I was like, yes. And it took so many tries to figure out the right balance, but she did it so well. So that's sort of how we did the pressure. I don't know if you guys agree, or what you felt like when you're doing the thing on set, but
go ahead. Yeah.
Oh, I love the score. Oh my God, the score was brilliant. But yeah, that was the frenetic aspect of it, making that funny was such a juggling act, and Emma was able to do that so well, because it could seem frenetic in a way that doesn't make people laugh, make people too upset. And in this, she just rode the balance perfectly of that whatever it is that makes it funny, as well as being your heart is out to this poor.
The film, by the way, is super funny and very quick wit, and you really have to keep up to catch all of the great lines that are coming from all of the great characters in this film. And I'm wondering, can you talk to us a little bit about who your comedic influences are, and what films, past and present, are inspirations for you, Emma?
Sure. I think probably Transparent and A Serious Man and the work of Coen Brothers were my biggest comedic inspirations. I think my family was probably the biggest inspiration more than anything. But also Rachel. Like Rachel's, if Tiff folks don't know, is a hilarious comedian. And when I made this short, it was going to be more of like a dramedy, traditional, more emphasis on drama. And she improvised so much because Rachel's just she's a comic and she's a fantastic writer and creates jokes so quickly. And so she was a huge influence in finding that brand of comedy to sort of balance out the harder feelings of the movie. So yeah, Rachel Sennott and the Coen Brothers probably
So Rachel, actually, can you talk to us a little bit about your collaboration working with Emma and your work as a comedian and bringing that aspect to the character of Danielle and even any experiences from your own life to this character?
Yeah, well, I mean, like Emma said, I met her when I auditioned for the short, and I feel like it was fate, kind of, and I feel so lucky to have met her because she was just such a great director. Like, to be so young and to be like have such a specific vision, I feel like Emma always had that, and it was so cool to work on the short and then like be friends with Emma as she's working on the feature and like going through all these drafts and ideas and then like seeing the character grow. And then by the time we were shooting the feature, it was just like, oh wow, I feel like I know this character really well because I like met her whatever 3 years ago, and now it's like the full thing. Right. And so I feel so lucky to have met and worked with Emma and become friends. And then I feel like to the character, something that Em and I talked about a lot that I really relate to is like that power that you feel like you have, like as a woman, when you're like, oh, like I have power over this guy, like there's no way he could hurt me, like I own this bitch, okay. And then all of a sudden you're like, wait, he's actually hurting me, and like the way that the power shifts. And so Emma and I would go through the script together and be like, who has the power in this scene? And like it shifts all the time, and like you have the power and then you lose it because you make a wrong move. And so that was really fun and interesting for me. And then for the comedy, like everyone got to do a little improv. Like Polly would really had to, like some of the parent scenes, I literally was like, okay, I'm miserable in this scene. She would just be like shooting, especially between Polly and Fred are like bickering over me, and I'm like, I have to have internal panic. And so that was fun. And with Dianna too, like we would all improv stuff, and like it was fun because they would throw stuff at you, and you're like my character is supposed to be so like anxious and dealing with all this stuff, and so it was just like fun doing that together. And I feel like that's the comedy came too from like obviously the script and then like playing those lines off of each other.
Right, that sounds like a lot of fun. So Emma, I'm gonna we have time for just this last question. Shiva Baby is one of our Tiff Next Wave selections, and you were one of the founding members of Tiff Next Wave back in 2010. Can you talk to us about, you know, your own journey from being a high school student in Toronto and, you know, selecting films for the Tiff Next Wave program, and then having, you know, coming full circle and having your first feature being selected by the Tiff Next Wave committee? I mean, did you imagine this moment would happen?
I hoped for it. I certainly wished and you know, prayed that it would. I feel so, it feels surreal to come back here with a film that's part of Tiff Next Wave. I mean, Next Wave, like, I wanted to be a film critic before, and then Next Wave at Tiff made me feel like I had the confidence to actually become a filmmaker. And I met so many young filmmakers and so many female filmmakers, and I actually understood how to make a film from Next Wave in its sort of barest roots. Like, it was just such a wonderful collaborative. It was easily like my most, you know, the best part of high school was I was just such a film nerd, and being part of Next Wave was incredible. So I have nothing but like incredible and like also just really emotional and surreal feelings when it comes to like coming back here with my first film and having it be part of Tiff Next Wave. So just lots of love, and I'm so excited to be here with it.
No, it's an amazing story. Polly, Dianna, Rachel, Emma, thank you so much for joining us here for this virtual Q&A. If you love this film, which I know you did, this film is eligible for the People's Choice Award. So you can go to tiff.net/vote to vote for Shiva Baby. Thank you all for coming, and Emma, thank you so much for bringing us this film.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye, everyone. Enjoy the rest of the films at the festival, and we'll see you later.